Fox News pastor and Donald Trump advisor Robert Jeffers spoke about the NFL protests on Fox News, and boy, did he make a wild claim.
I think what these players are doing is absolutely wrong. These players ought to be thanking God that they live in a country where they're not only free to earn millions of dollars every year, but they're also free from the worry of being shot in the head for taking a knee like they would be if they were in North Korea. And I think tens of millions of Americans agree with President Trump when he says they ought to be called out for this. I know this president. President Trump is not a racist. For President Trump, this is not about race. Effective country.
Wow, that is the hottest of all hot takes I think I've ever heard. That is a fucking flaming nuclear radioactive take right there. Okay, so the NFL protesters shouldn't protest. Instead, they should be thanking God they live in a country where they don't get shot in the head for the freedom to protest. They should be thanking God they don't live in North Korea. You want to talk about a low bar? Hey, look, guys, we're not North Korea, huh? Yeah, and here we allow dissent, which is the exact thing you're telling them not to do. Hey, look, don't exercise your freedom because you live in a country that has that allows you to exercise it. What? What kind of reverse psychology bullshit is that? No, if they can exercise their freedom, and they can, why wouldn't they exercise their freedom, their First Amendment rights, to try to shine a light on what this all was originally about, which is police brutality and injustice? I mean, the arguments, the tortured, twisted arguments these people come up with to try to say it's bad what they're doing. Meanwhile, these are the same fucking people who didn't call it un-American to defend the Confederate flag and Confederate monuments. Confederate flag and Confederate monuments, literal signs of traitors to this country. We want to secede because we don't like the United States of America. We want to keep slavery. So we are traitors, we are secessionists, we're going to leave over this. People were just flying the Confederate flags. They defend the Confederate flags, and then they turn around today and pretend to be the most American. You know, if you were the most American, perhaps you would have at least been honest about what the Confederate flag stood for. But you didn't. Somehow the people who defend the Confederate flag the most have wrapped themselves in the American flag the most, and they say, yes, we're the most American, even though we were just literally flying the flags of traitors. Dissent is the highest form of patriotism. If they want to take a knee to try to make the country better by limiting police brutality and fixing injustice, there's nothing more American than that. And, you know, it's been driving me crazy, the hypocrisy on this, because there's so many people on the right who pretend like their main issue is free speech and free expression, and that they're crusaders for it, and that, oh my God, all the fucking college campus snowflakes the left-wingers who are authoritarians, who are trying to shut down right-wing talkers, we're principled in our defense of free speech. Except they're not. Because if they were, they would have all defended Chelsea Manning when she got disinvited from Harvard, and they didn't. They would have all said, you know what, even if I don't agree with Colin Kaepernick, he shouldn't get fucking fired, and nobody who's kneeling in the NFL should get fired for kneeling, because that is the definition of a nonviolent, peaceful protest. That's as American as it gets, and the President of the United States, who represents the government, said you should get fired for that. How is that not a violation of the First Amendment? The government, the President, saying you should get fired if you do free expression and free speech. So they're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. And then, by the way, this guy Robert Jeffers goes on to say, I don't think Jesus would do this. This is the same guy who we just covered the story not even a week ago of him saying, oh, yeah, when it comes to immigration, sure, Jesus wants you to do, what's right by immigrants. But then again, we're secular, so don't, it's separate church and state. I wouldn't worry too much, or don't be too compassionate here when it comes to immigrants. So notice, when the argument is convenient, oh no, we're secular, they ignore what Jesus said. And then now when he thinks Jesus wouldn't kneel, which I don't even know where he's getting that from, he goes, what would Jesus do? Follow what Jesus would do. They're just, the far-right politics comes before everything else in their mind. That's what it is. That he's not, oh, I'm going to worry about Jesus or the Bible or my religion or being a good person. That is not higher on his list. Higher on his list is, I'm going to be a right-wing hack. And what are the right-wingers saying? Okay, let me make that argument. So now, oh, the fucking football players, geez, taking a knee and, like, using your freedoms. And you should just be happy we're not shooting you in the head like in North Korea. How is that an argument that's remotely convincing to anybody? We're not North Korea. Therefore, don't exercise your freedoms because we're not North Korea.